I just wish I'd had that Rod Stewart story at the time, because I was stuck for something to write that day. Anyways. So, Exhibit A. You see this scarf? I've had it for more years than Frank McAvenny has had blow dryers. I got this scarf in the mid-1950s, and it survived 4 or 5 changes of address in that long interim. My wife knows better than to ever to bin it. She's looking for cupboard space, because, as I always say to her, this scarf stays so long as I stay. It's a family heirloom now, a relic of the very best of times in Hearts history. Those times being between the years of 1954 and 1962, when we can readily recall that Hearts won 1 Scottish Cup, 2 League Championships, and 4 League Cups under the managership of Tommy Walker. My most vivid memory of that vintage era is of standing just behind that goal that I'm seeing through the glass there. I couldn't have been any nearer had I been a photographer. And I was one of nearly 48,000 men and boys in the stadium that day, February 1956, to witness Hearts beat Rangers 4-0 in a Scottish Cup tie. Willie Bald, whom we're commemorating this evening, scored 2 goals on that famous occasion. The others were shared by Alfie Conn, whose son I see is here somewhere, and Ian Crawford. Hearts went on to beat Raith Rovers at Easter Road in the semi-final after a replay. Then Celtic in the final at Hampden to win the tournament for the first time since our friend Pilmer here was a laddie in the early 1900s. Happy days indeed, and besides the other successes I've mentioned earlier, there have been a few since, with Hearts lifting the same trophy, 3 times to date, another 3 times that is. The 1980s were memorable also for what so nearly was in the middle part of that decade on the domestic front, and of course the many splendid forays in Europe under my wee pal Alan McDonald, the manager. But you know, well, there's never a bad time to support as proud and distinguished a club as Hearts. There have been happier times in the present. What with the financial woes visited upon the club by the implosion of Mr. Vladimir Romanov's empire, that Hearts are about to be relegated, sadly, is a given, but secondary to the ongoing threat to their very existence, as those in charge seek to steer the club through the long and arduous process of administration. I can liken that process to trying to sail an ocean-going liner along the canal from Viewforth here to Falkirk without touching the sides. It'll be some feat of the manager, but fingers crossed they will. And we wish them well in that quest, hoping and praying that Edinburgh's darlings, as this club has often been called, not only survive, but prosper for as long as football is played in these parts. So on that note, gentlemen, I would invite you to be upstanding and join me in toasting the most nobly named club in the country, the Heart of Midlothian. The Jambos indeed.